What a night, what a game. 80,000 people here in Paris at Stade de France. I'm glad you can join us for what is being called the Game for Eternity, the 108th final of the top 14, the top 14, the French Championship final between Perpignan, 6 times winners, but they last won that title 54 years ago. Against them, Clermont-Auvergne, 9 times runners-up, but they've never won. And they were runners-up the last 2 years. Well, these two sides, Perpignan and Clermont-Auvergne, representing different parts of the country. The Auvergnats up in the middle, near the heart of the Massif Central. The Catalans from Perpignan in the sang et or, the blood red and the gold, but there, the blue of the Clermontois. They've knocked out the 2 cup clubs who, with Biarritz, have dominated the last decade, Toulouse and Paris. And we're underway for 80 minutes. Nigel Summersmith here with Florent Rossignol. The final of the top 14. A long wait, but an exciting one. The referee, Monsieur Jean-Pierre Mathieu, 41-year-old, who has refereed many top games, but also his father was a cup final referee back in 1985. Quick thoughts, early thoughts from Flo.
Well, simply here we've got what have been the best of the season. Those 2 teams have been very, very regular. 2 difference, one is relying a lot on that man, Brooke James, to score his point. He's now in 3 years at the club score over 940 points, and he's the man who has made the difference. But tonight they've got Perpignan, which is the most disciplined side in the top 14. And that's mean probably not so much work for Brooke James. Rugbystically, if I can say that, the attacking power lie on the USAP side.
So here come Clermont. Brooke James it is, puts up the high ball for the pass from Mignoni. Up goes Nalanga in there. Nalanga and Rougerie, the captain. And already the tension breaks out, some flying arms and fists. And referee Jean-Pierre Mathieu from Armagnac will have to get this sorted very quickly, very early. Some fraying tempers, and Mignoni a little stroppy little so-and-so sometimes. Opposite him, Nicolas Durand. Class players on both teams, just to pick out a few on the Perpignan side. Porrical at fullback, he's been the find of the season in my book. David Marty in the centre with Mermoz, the new midfield star. Big night for Gavin Hume at fly half. There's Freshwater from England, Tinku Romania, Mas the captain in the front row, Karelis from Romania, Argentina rather, Olibo, and a man to watch out, the number 8, Damien Chouli. Clermont in a moment, but familiar faces there too, and here's one of them, Pierre Mignoni, playing his final game for Clermont, and off to Toulon, like some other big names we know, like a certain Jay Wilkinson. He'll be there with illustrious figures. So Clermont, Anthony from fullback, Rougerie playing in the centre tonight. This man Nalanga, top try scorer in the French season, 20 tries to him. Brock James could be the man who has the power to win this in his own boots. 82% success rate. Ledesma up front, Domingo and Skelzo, Pierre and Privat, Cudmore, Julien Bonner and Audebert. 2 terrific lineups, and as Flo says, the dominant teams of this season. They've been superb, the rugby they played, the quality.
Yeah, definitely, and just coming back to the idea, Montferrand has built up a good momentum this season, and straight away that's a free kick there for engaging too early for l'USAP. They know they've got to win that set piece tonight because they've been a bit defiant last weekend against Stade Francais. And if they want to impose themselves against the Clermont forward, they've got to win that engagement. And I think here there was a bit of precipitation. But yeah, Montferrand has been capable of controlling teams, mainly with a superb defense, a well-organized and a great kicker, and using very, very well the back 3 on counter-attack, with Nalaga scoring 20 tries this season. On the other side, l'USAP, not so enterprising up front, but pretty powerful, but every danger comes from the midfield and the wing.
And problems here, one senses, for Skelzo in the front row, and the clock already stopped, and what an atmosphere it's been. These 2 clubs have built up such a fanatical support base, and Perpignan, well, they haven't, as I said, had a a season like it for so long. They have won the title 6 times, but a final has eluded them for 54 years. Last in the final 2004, they lost to Paris. There are 5 left over from that year, and they desperately want, both teams couldn't wish for it more, to win a title. So still troubles, and the front row problem is a significant one as we await further attention. The injury troubles. Well, Clermont semi-finalists beating Toulouse 19-9. Perpignan semi-finalists, terrific performance, beating Paris 25-21. End result, Brock James just glancing up for the Gary Owen. Judged to be out of range. Good conditions tonight. We've had plenty of rain in Paris, but stayed off tonight. Ground a bit damp. Good mark called here.
Yeah, decision by Brock James there. That was a free kick awarded to them, so either they replay the scrum, either they kick the ball, or they could have gone to touch but lose the control of the ball.
Jérôme Porical here. Well, what a family history they have. His father and his grandfather both played in a cup final in the top 14, as it was then the French Championship as it was called. And his grandfather was a winner. Not his father, and not yet Jérôme Porical either, but all 3 fullbacks, one after the other, down the line. Durand does well, finds Hume, spins it wide. Oh, that's poor work from Perpignan there, the breakdown.
And the first enforced error there by the Perpignan centre. A bit took his eye off the ball, a bit under pressure, but should have controlled that.
Mermoz and Marty in that midfield. Well, they reckon they are probably the top form pairing in the centre at the moment. Mermoz will be off on tour, the youngster. Just 22 off on tour on Monday with I think half a dozen players in this game. Along with him from Perpignan will be Nicolas Mas and Damien Chouli. And for Clermont, Rougerie, Domingo and Bonner to join France and New Zealand. So here's Pierre Mignoni, back to his birthplace this season. Long feed from Brock James. This is Rougerie to Nalanga. Ever the threat, big powerful Fijian on the wing. What an impact he's made. Pressure here, 7 metres out from the Perpignan line. Nicolas Durand. Bit of safety there.
That was a good pressure, good line by Rougerie, coming, offloading in a tackle straight away. That ball to Nalaga. Couldn't really kick the ball ahead of him. Try his best to keep hit in play for himself, but the ball bounced away, which allowed Perpignan to kick and get some breather.
There's the tall figure, 6'4", Aurélien Rougerie, the captain of Clermont. Scored a try against Toulouse in the cup final last year. It wasn't enough. Toulouse still won, but here now with Bonner, Audebert, Cudmore, big powerful Clermont back row. They've got the majority of the early possession. Mignoni waits. There's big Canadian Jamie Cudmore, and Bonner comes back to support.
Good try there by Ledesma, going on the weaker side.
Mignoni just pops it up, keeps the rumble going with the forwards. Once more, Cudmore standing off, ready for the next drive. That was Domingo, the young French prop. Perpignan just soaking up the pressure at the moment. Knew what was coming. What an atmosphere. Away via Brock James, up through the middle. That's knocked on and kicked on, in fact, not a knock on. Scurrying back, Clermont. Good pick up, Anthony Floch. And Floch's away. Tremendous running from the Clermont fullback. Keeps it in play with the kick downfield. Puts more pressure on Perpignan again. Back to their own 22. Brilliant counter-attack work. And now it's Brock James. Twice runner-up in his first 2 seasons. Did he get blocked there? Looked like a bit of an elbow. Referee was facing the other way. He's back on his feet though. And finally, Rougerie, Aurélien Rougerie, 55 caps for France, and what an inspiration he's been to Clermont, and come back so well this season after missing the first couple of months through injury, and really lifted Clermont to a great second half. Now Poricard in his own 22.
And finally one of the team kicked the ball out. There was a bit of a tennis table kind of play there, but here you go. That was the ball was charged down, or rather tackled by Perpignan, and there Floch ran around doing well to keep that ball in play.
His second cup final. Remember, he scored a drop goal against Paris in the, again as runners-up 2 years ago that time. Yeah, it's good work for the 26-year-old. Got a couple of caps last season. Played against England. That's the Perpignan Catalan support. The intensity of it. And it's been a packed Aimé Girard, their home stadium, every home game this season. Well played Cudmore, down to Mignoni, Brock James, up through the middle with Canale. Rougerie, of course, normally on the wing.
It's a turnover there for Perpignan.
Good ball, Durand away via Gavin Hume, on via Marty Mermoz. This is Farid Sid, scragged.
Plays in the hand of the Perpignanais at the moment. It's a turnover there.
Tackled and released the ball. Damien Chouli there, offloaded by Rougerie. Good pace here and out on the right with Candelon. No, Farid Sid, sorry, he's come right the way across from the left wing. Now it's Mignoni, now it's Brock James. Nalanga, he takes it and scores. Brilliant cross kick. Napoleone Nalanga, try 21, but this one's in the final.
Yeah, that was a great work there. All the enthusiasm and the momentum was coming from Perpignan, but they turned over that ball straight away, finding their hands, running around there.
Babi did well
I
here,
think that was Babi finding a bit of space there, staying strong, waiting for the support, sucking a bit of the Perpignan defense, and there, totally on the opposite, Nalaga on his own. Great kick from Brock James.
Superb finishing, wonderful accuracy on the kick here. This was Rougerie offloading. Benoit Babi, so often fullback, did well here. Saw he couldn't get round the outside, brought it back into contact. Now watch for the weight on this kick from Brock James, the Australian who's been passed over by the Wallabies, heaven knows why, but brilliant score, and rounded off by Napoleone Nalanga, the flesh they call him, the arrow, and that's his 21st try. What an impact he's had. So over 82% success with the boot this season, 41 successful kicks in a row at one point in the season. Brock James, fantastic.
And that's another 997-point outscore for Clermont this over 3 years.
Amazing, isn't it? Great finish as Nalanga looks to the skies with gratitude. So Well deserved, no question about that. Clermont really off to a racing start. 12 minutes into this first half. If you've just joined us, we're at the top 14, the French Championship final. Stade de France filled to overflowing. Both clubs demanding more seats. There were none left available, so they had to settle for their allocation. Durand, that's his mistake, to scrum half for Perpignan. Not everything going right for the Catalans at the moment.
No at all. There just seems to be a bit of under a bit of a pressure. They go in contact, lose control of the ball. There Durand doing another enforcer. Easy ball to catch. Didn't do it.
But on the big stage, sometimes the nerves take better. This is Floch.
He doesn't do any mistake there. Again, Damien Chouli.
Well, I must say Clermont have really got to grips up front, haven't they? They've dominated possession early here, and you're thinking about, you know, the power of a pack that Clermont you thought would have the edge. But Freshwater, Tinku, Nicolas Mas, Alvarez, Corellis, Olibo behind them. They're struggling a bit in the set piece. Andalus. So Clermont ball. Mignoni, last cap for France. Probably not one he wants to remember in the World Cup quarter-final. 28 in all. Now 32. And the likely partner for Wilkinson next season. A penalty here.
If there was any doubt, the Perpignan kind of released the scrum. Here you go, they make their mark. They were weak on that front last week, not at his against Stade Francais, and here dominating totally Montferrand on the impact.
Well, all credit to Perry Freshwater, the English international, of course. Agua Fresca, they call him here, not surprisingly. He and Tinku with the bald heads. There's Marius Tinku, a controversial figure, of course, who somehow got away with the incident of eye gouging in the European Cup and was allowed back in as French appealed to the French Sporting Olympic Committee about his suspension. Durand to the back row again. Flip left this time with Gavin Hume. The big boys in the middle, standing off. Marius Tinku, but good recycle ball. Gavin Hume. Now with Marty Onva. Lecorvec. No doubt Perpignan have stepped it up a bit. Durand, Hume, big Olivier Olibo, and again, drop goal chance, Gavin Hume, Scover as well, tremendous work. Perpignan needed to come back faster, my goodness they did. Well, he's the 7th fly half that Perpignan fielded this season, and has a big responsibility here, a big role to play.
Taking his chance really well there. Not the best pass, but realised there was still time and kicked that ball through the pit.
Could have been, of course, Stan Carter in that number 10 shirt, but not to be. Only had those 4 games early in the season before the Achilles tendon injury that kept him out, but he's been still a part behind the scenes, helping the preparation and the younger players too. But Gavin Hume stepping up to that role, which Carter had to vacate. Nicolas Laharag couldn't hang on to. Steve Mayer injured, and 7 fly halves in all. But that was a big and important kick to bring Perpignan straight back into the game after conceding the try.
Yeah, and that's definitely what Perpignan have to offer tonight. Control on the ball. They went left, they went right, creating a pressure. And there you go, that was a good pass there. good continuity, keeping the ball inside. Farid Sid inside the pitch. Look over, Jean-Pierre Perez.
Well, there was every sign this was going to be a thriller. Two sides who have topped the try-scoring list this season were going to be adventurous, and now it's Farid Sid. Oh, lovely swerve inside, looking for support. Does he need it? Scurrying back the men in blue and yellow, but what a wonderful run by the Perpignan winger. Now a possible overlap out wide if they can use it well. All a bit, the pass not slick enough along the line, but still, this is a different performance coming on now from Perpignan. Once more, Gavin Hume, South African born and under 21 international. However, the follow-up player, Olibo, not staying on his feet, I sense, and an injury as well here.
What a great run then by the little winger, trying to keep the ball alive to the end. Loses footage. Here, great turn, lot of sevens experience.
That's terrific player for the local man, born and brought up in Rive Salt, where they make an excellent dinner wine, very famous, rather like a muscat, and Rive Salt's are renowned for that, and for Farid Sid, the Perpignan wing three-quarter, who was here 4 or 5 years ago with Perpignan, but after being left out when Perpignan played in the Heineken Cup final, he was left out. He switched clubs, went to Colomiers and to Brive, but has come back with a vengeance. And here he is, terrific running. Got a bang on his shoulder just following this, but he's back on his feet and all right. At that point, I guess, his own player, initially. So this 108th championship final. Good work by Julien Pierre for Clermont. It's building up into a classic. Thibaut Puivin setting it up. Brock James this time with Nalanga coming in from the blindside wing. He loves the physical side of the game. Often plays like a back row forward. Gets involved enormously. Well sheltered by Rougerie. Back to Brock James, inside to the support of Gonzalo Canali, his partner in the centre. Penalty, Clermont.
And that's very fresh water.
Nicolas Mas
playing the ball on the floor there.
Just getting the explanation from referee Mathieu. Only one option here as Rougerie calls up Brock James.
Set.
900 and what is it we got to? 996 points in 3 seasons.
Yep. Getting closer to the 1,000.
Remarkable achievement, unique achievement in consecutive seasons. 318 this season. He's like an automaton, and well over 80% success rate. And as I said, that remarkable achievement of, I don't think I've seen the equal of that. Maybe Colin Patterson of Scotland did, but 41 consecutive penalties or conversions in a row. They re-established their 10 points to 3 lead, a 7-point margin again, with Brock James looking so calm, so composed in this torrid atmosphere. Had fantastic build-up with the entertainment as so often provided at the big occasions at the Stade de France, whether it be Stade Francais playing at home or the actual final. And it was very good also to here and stand for the minute silence, which was observed just before you joined us, in homage to the 228 victims of the Air France Airbus, that tragic accident that happened so recently. Midpoint of the first half. Clermont Auvergne 10, Perpignan 3. And of course so much at stake, such excitement. I can tell you the central squares of both cities are packed in front of the giant screens. Was that knocked on?
I think
not been given advantage maybe. Here's Partido, always with a sense of adventure. Scored a great try in the semi-final. Here's Nalanga. He's scored a few great tries along the way. Mignoni with Cudmore standing off, this bull of a man born in Winnipeg, but he's the decoy. This is the target, Brock James. Watching this guy, Partido, that was one of the great tries, wasn't it, in the semi-final that he scored?
That was a great work there, and again, that's another great kick there by Partido.
Very accomplished fullback, just 23, and I said wonderful ancestry, both father and grandfather, which I think is unique, played in the championship final. And both, of course, traditionally like Jérôme for Perpignan. Brock James, what an educated boot there. That was a wonderful creative work from the fly half. In goes Ledesma. Bit of a legend, the 36-year-old Argentinian hooker for Clermont. Probably one of those who might be going out on a high if they win this one and retire.
Montferrand uses that power we were talking earlier with the forwards to make the yards, then put the defense on the back foot.
Babi chasing, but Candelon did well there. Clung to it for Perpignan. Durand, dummies, but straight into the arms of Julien Pierre, the second row. Well, you've got to vary it sometimes, but no one fooled by that.
Yeah, the ball is very slow to come out for Perpignan. That doesn't give any real option to Nicolas Durand.
There he is again. This time quite a useful Garriot in that one. Bit of chaos in defence and one back, but lost again. So Clermont have it. First defence. Yeah, knock on first of all. Just thinking of the age thing, they talked about Ledesma at 36, of course, on the bench for Perpignan. Sébastien Bozzi, who must be the oldest in the championship, 38 on the 1st of June, just now.
There was a little darts impression around the scrum by Nicolas Durand. Well brought back to his own side by the defense. But Clermont has been using the forwards really wisely at the moment, doing all the hard work, lost of energy, defending against a very compact forward packs going like that. It's going to be leaving some marks as the game go on.
Well, number 6 there, Jamie Cudmore, may be challenged next year with the arrival of Jason White from Sale, one of the many UK top players who are finding their way into the top French clubs. Morgan Parra's coming as well from Bourgoin, the current French scrum half.
Yes, Pierre Mignoni returning to his homeland, Toulon.
There's Ledesma, 69 caps for Argentina. His first 13 years ago against Uruguay. Off goes Julien Bonner. He's been a great asset since rejoining Clermont from Bourgoin. Martin Scelzo to Ledesma. Help from big Domingo. Brilliant play, Julien Pierre. Big handoff, big drive. But number 5 didn't stay on his feet, Thibaut Privat.
Dive straight over in the support. You've got to make that effort now. That's the rule. There you go. What a great work by Julien Pierre. Unfortunately, his fellow compare in the second row, diving straight off.
24 minutes played. This final, so desperately needed. Thibaut Privat there by both teams. Clermont, this their 10th final. They've yet to win one. Runners up the last 2 years. Perpignan, well, no one in their lifetime on this field has been able to see Perpignan win a championship final. It was, some of them are getting close, but 54 years ago, 1955. Even before the times of the great Joe Mazzo, when he was with Perpignan, and Ambanon, Desclos, Guta. Perpignan now. Long before Florent Rossignol. This is
not that long.
Perez again.
That's what they need to do, Perpignan. They need to build some phase of rugby.
Memoz, great play. Perpignan just show they have got that spark. They come again.
They're playing well there, Perpignan. Putting
there's the long-haired Jean-Pierre Perez. His first season here, and quickly established himself in the back row for Perpignan. Nicolas Durand kept Cussiter out all season. He's been the number one call, and David Mele the second, really. Drop goal attempt, drifts away, curled away from Gavin Hume. Well, he got the idea first time, and maybe it's fresh in mind, seeing the option.
That's what they need to do. Give some space for that man. That's where the danger can come from for Lussap. They've got two players in the center who can create space around them.
Brock James, Australian at junior level, under 19s, under 21s. James again. Just inside his 22, but he's kept it in play deliberately so, covering his Hume and Partido. Bit of a lull in the game here, tense times, only a 7-point margin, 27 minutes gone. Partido, all his players in front of him bar one wing. Oh, not the best angle, so it's Babi, Benoit Babi. Played lots of positions. Of course, he was France's fly half the last time they played in a test match.
They have indeed, yeah. He is polyvalent. He can play any position in the backs.
Good work by Bonner.
Joined from Toulouse a few seasons ago.
And downfield from Brock James. That was classy work from Julien Bonner. Been in and out, but did play in this season's Six Nations, mostly. Off goes Martin Skelzo. He's been seen around many a ground, including Northampton, of course. Had a good spell there, and still going strong. That's 33 and nearly 20 stone. Brock James this time, but well, it's become such a popular theme for number 10s and 15s this season, hasn't it, in France? I think Hernandez and Boxis and who else?
Andy Good as well, has scored quite a lot of few drop goals there.
Absolutely. Getting towards the half-hour point, advantage being played. None really comes till too late. Whistle, knock on each way. A few words of the now fluent Mario Ledesma. Mignoni. Not the best pass, really. Didn't have pace on it, really. Do you see how James is waiting? Mignoni now. 32 he is. International for 12 years altogether. Perhaps the end of the road in that respect. But not for too long. That'll be an exciting time. There's Philippe Saint-André. Clermont, ruled by Vernon Cotter. What an impact the coach has had. Now the big drive. Domingo, 23-year-old on the French squad already and capped 3 times. Bonner, not to be, little errors creeping in. But just mentioning Vern Cotter, I mean, the whole Clermont scene changed when he arrived from New Zealand, didn't it?
Yeah, they always had a bit of that underachievement kind of image, and Van Cotter are supposedly brought into that quite a good discipline, a good organisation,
and gotten straight into the final in his first year, and of course followed by last year. So Laurent Emanueli and Zirakashvili swap over, and Zirakashvili, who was meant to be the reserve prop, comes on for Martin Skelzo, and I think that's that early injury at the beginning of the game. So the Georgian powerhouse comes on to replace the older man. Maybe it was all planned, but one would have thought maybe on the sort of stroke of half an hour you'll go off, and on comes David Zirakashvili for Skelzo.
Until 10-3 to Clermont.
Oh, what's going on in that front row? There's a bit of a reaction to whatever happened then. Maybe flat hands in each other's faces, but didn't look too nice. So Ledesma, who's still down. I think he's got something to say about it. Mario Ledesma. Here's the replay.
Let's see if we can. Yeah, there is a punch there going. That was Tinku.
Separate war up there, and you can see, look, I thought there was a hand in his face there, and it may have been nails, it might have been who knows what, but pretty unpleasant. 8.5 minutes remain of this first half. Clermont 10, Perpignan 3. Durand on the little break, like a little terrier at the heels of the Perpignan pack. Olibo, never trust the second row. My goodness me. Well, I was going to say it could have gone anywhere. It did go anywhere. Here's Nalanga, the kick from Parical, sets up the winger.
And it's a knock-on.
Big hit by Perry Freshwater, well played.
Thanks for that.
And I tell you what, that guy at full tilt takes a deal of stopping. Does Nalanga at 16 stone 5 on the hoof. Watch.
Oh, an impact there.
Brilliant. So, not forward, and another of those little darts. At least that keeps the Clermont back row thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he reacted it well, because he saw that Mignoni was sucked in around that ruck. He got a great ball. Damien Chouli managed to offload that ball and actually open a bit of space outside Mignoni. There was no reason for him to pass that ball to Gavin here. The gap was there. He should take it.
Nicolas Durand capped a couple of times against New Zealand 2 years ago in New Zealand. Partly because, of course, some players were not able to go because it clashed with the top 14 final in which Perpignan weren't involved. You sense there's been things going on in the front row that are spilling over into the open play now. Nicolas Mas there without a number, the Perpignan skipper.
And once again, there's a player. There's nothing.
Hard to know, isn't it? They're all having a go. Oh, Ledesma, a bit of Hollywood stuff there, I think. Because I think he actually sort of went down seconds after. But here let's listen here to It's Masiello on the touchline.
Yeah, and I think the first infringements come from the Montferrand player, the Clermont player, and that's Ledesmo. We're going to be a reprimand there.
Monsieur, vous accrochez tous les deux, et c'est vous qui mettez le premier coup. Monsieur l'arbitre, d'accord, on n'a aucun intérêt. S'il vous plaît. C'est vous qui mettez le premier coup.
Ledesma made the big dive, didn't he, after he got the retaliation. But he's the guy who's got the conceded the penalty.
Let's
Have
see.
a look here. It's not amusing, but I mean, it's pretty obvious. Now watch for number 2. At this point, perhaps he did get hit.
A little bit, but that was...
It wasn't very much, was it? Because he then collapsed in... He's given out a few in his time, that's for sure. Just to mention, because some people have mentioned me along the way, you know, are Clermont the same as Clermont, as Montferrand? And of course they are. Just the names changed from what had been Association Sportive Montferrand, which was confusing to some people when Clermont became Clermont Auvergne with the support of the region. Meanwhile, Perpignan, the Catalan country, just outrunning.
Yeah, still a bit of a mind game there. That was an easy ball to catch. The pass wasn't too strong. Yeah, Mermoz offloading. And then that's Candelo.
Quite a good little, a lot of individual battles, aren't there, within the game, but Babi and Candelon is a fascinating one, but probably a bit more serious up there between those two front row unions. James, such a solid, dependable fly half. Perhaps not the most exciting, but having said that, they have been wonderfully entertaining this season. And
Candelo following that ball and doing a great job to put that big forward straight on the floor to stop the ball to move away.
I was about to say, can't be too unenterprising as a fly half if his team has scored 80 tries in the season. And Perpignan, the second highest number with 60 tries. It's good to see that success based on a very attractive style of play. 5 minutes to half time, and it really is tight and close. 10 points to 3.
Les jeunes, s'il vous plaît.
For Perpignan, Jacques Brunel has been the inspiration there as the coach. That's not straight. Stepping up from 4th last season when they lost. These two met in the semi-final a year ago, and Clermont won pretty comfortably in the end. Jacques Brunel, Bernard Guter, Frank Azema, the coaching trio, have really captivated the city of Perpignan down in that deep south on the Mediterranean coast.
And then Pierre Mignoni congratulating himself for putting so much pressure at the tail of the Perpignan scrum.
Tell you what, that's just blatant, wasn't it? And away goes Shuli. But Mignoni, thorn in the flesh so often. As I said earlier on, quite a stroppy fella. Julien Pierre fishing out the plaudits. Well, it's wheeling badly, isn't it? That should be turnover ball. That's 90, isn't it? Well, Durant's peeling for that very thing. Brock James, mismove in the centre to Rougerie to Nalanga. Double miss, missing out Anthony Floch. It's in touch.
And another ball move escaped Nalanga hands. Yeah, Nalanga get that ball quite rapidly. Well marked by Farid Sid.
Bien vous lier, d'accord? Oui. Bien.
Good tackle there, forcing the ball and the man to go wet and forcing that unforced error.
Farid Sid, who was in the IRB Sevens World Cup team for France. Gregory Lecourvec. Oh, sorry.
That's the other
Get the
side.
colours right one day. Alexandre Audebert. Part of an all-international back row. He got a couple of caps, but nearly, well, getting off a decade ago, his first. 31, 30 and 30 in the Clermont back row. Time's running out for them if they are to get the Bouclier de Brennus, the championship trophy, once in their life. Durand to Gavin Hume. Just 2 minutes of the half remain. Counter-attack, Anthony Floch. Could be useful. Bounce wasn't the kindest. So it's away with Porical. Back on the counter come Perpignan. Durand. Hume. Durand again. Then Perry Freshwater. Doing as he always used to do at Leicester days. The basics well. Perez. Candelon even acting as an additional forward, and Clermont perhaps slightly off top at the moment, using hand in the ruck, lost their way a little bit.
Good strength then by Perez. And that earned him a penalty, kickable penalty as well.
And a penalty that really put it on the wire as we come up towards half-time. 1 minute to play of this first half. It's 10-3, by which Clermont Auvergne lead. Terrific first 20 minutes when they were very much dominant. But now Perpignan, this club of 107 years standing, who finished top in the 26 rounds of the league with only 5 defeats, one of them against Clermont, incidentally. So here is Jérôme Porical, their top point scorer this season. 35 penalty goals, this one to get within 4 points. Not easy, especially on championship night at the Stade de France. Beautifully struck, absolute perfection. Didn't move an inch away from the central point, and so Porical has brought new yet still greater hope to their massed ranks of supporters here.
And that's good. I've known how to take the pressure from Montferrand when they're opening, and that's the half-time. And they know how to take the pressure, they stick to it, and it's only 4 points in that game for the moment.
So here at half-time we have a game on our hands. 40 minutes to go and it's 10 points to 6. We'll be back in a few moments because there's a little story coming up about a young man who's joining Toulon, Johnny Wilkins. Welcome back, Stade de France it is. As big a crowd as you'd ever find for a club championship game, but this is a special one. It's the final of the top 14, the 108th playing of the championship final, and it's so in the balance. Perpignan, the Catalans from the deep southwest, against the men from the regions of the Puy-de-Dôme and the Massif Central. Clermont Auvergne, based on the city of Clermont-Ferrand, and it's Clermont who cling to a lead of just 4 points.
Yeah, and as you said it, Nigel, nothing in that game at the moment. 4 points, it can still go both ways. I think Perpignan has been very patient in that first half, taking all the pressure from the forward, from the Clermont's forward, and playing a smart game every time they had the ball in hands. The only pretty downfall thing for them is they've lost the ball too many times.
So we're underway the second half. Clermont immediately in possession, but kicked away by Brock James and taken by Porical. Jérôme Porical. It's had an excellent season all round, but then indeed so have Perpignan. losing only to Paris, Toulouse, Mont-de-Marsan, Clermont in the away game, and Bayonne. But these two clubs put out the favourites, Toulouse and Stade Francais, to bring them the chance that they've so long dreamed of, the title. Partido once more. And fly half Brock James. Third season here, came from Western Force, Queensland Reds. And what a great purchase it proved to be for Clermont. It's a wonderful kick.
Right over the top of the line. And that brings they're back there in on the 22 meters.
3 seasons Brock James, 3 seasons Pierre Mignoni as partners at half-back. But runners-up both times so far, along with 10 of the side who lost in 07, 11 of the side from Clermont who lost last year. Just imagine how desperate they are for this title. But equal to that of Perpignan, who have 5 of the side. The last time they were in the final, 2004. The survivors there like Le Corvet, Durand, Freshwater, David Marty. Maybe you only get one chance in life at this sort of achievement. Glory for someone waits. Here come Clermont. Cadmore, Bonner, Audebert, useful trio in combination. Brock James. It's a well-flighted kick, challenged a bit high, was it, by Rougerie? It's a knock-on anyway.
First knock-on from Rougerie, I think. It was quite high, but don't think there was any intention into it, and the referee probably read it, Mr. Mao.
It's interesting that he chose to obviously influence coach Vern Cotter to put him in the centre this time. He's obviously an out-and-out wing three-quarter, a great finisher, 21 tries for France, but I think it's the injury to Marius Joubert, the South African centre, that really forced the issue, with very good backups on the wing like Babi.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got to recreate that balance which they had for, and that's a penalty here. Simply, John Cudmore not staying linked with the full arms to the scrum.
He's had his moments along the way, Cudmore, another who's been a good servant. 2 finals, second row a couple of years ago, flanker last year like this. Part of Canada's World Cup squad. Here he is, you can see, just comes much too early, interferes with Perez along the way.
That is offside. He's even in front of the ball. Yeah, in his semi-final, got yellow carded as well.
Well, I was hoping we might have got pictures for you showing just what it's like in the centre of these two cities. That beautiful centre of Clermont-Ferrand is absolutely packed. Half the population must be there watching the big screens in that wonderful, beautiful, architecturally rebuilt centre, or renovated centre, should I say. And so too in Perpignan. The warmth of a balmy summer's evening on the Mediterranean coast. Good work here, the Perpignan forwards. Not done yet. Durand pops it up. In this time goes the captain, Nicolas Mas.
Well identified that. You can notice that the Montferrand defense leave a lot of space in the middle of those rucks, and something that the Perpignan start to exploit quite nicely.
Marty spins it to Porical, weaves his way well. David Marty goes and scoring under the post. Superb work by Perpignan. They are back. They are in the lead by a point. Superb work. Close hands, at pace, and what a finish.
And Porical coming in that line made the difference, staying on his strong on his field. Here you go, there's the pass. Porical, he comes in, stays strong, offload back to Marty, and then take the defense on the counter-spit.
That was wonderful play, this was. Slick and Porical. Here's the check step. That left Rougerie grasping at thin air, And then this man, well, a wonderful player for France on his day, 22 caps, but this is the day he'll maybe remember most of all. And Jacques Brunel goes, yeah, man, or something like that. Anyway, they scored 11-10 to Perpignan. Wonderful try.
What a great way to start that second half for l'USAP. Straight at the heart of the action. Other side, they identified that weakness from Montferrand, not bringing some defender behind the ruck. So they decided to attacking that, obviously that space.
USAP, Union Sportive Arlequin Perpignanais, as the short version that everyone in France uses. USAP is Perpignan. And here's Porical to increase the lead to 3 points. Is that the turning of the tide? Now, Clermont, first time behind, thanks to some brilliant play here. Not much room, but look at that close quarter work. Marty, exactly the right place. Porical, the little offload, terrific. And of course, the decoy out wide.
Yeah, what a great work from the fullback there. Staying strong, keeping his mind as well, knowing that Marty coming around. It's cold. It's not just create like that from nothing. There is a good understanding between the two players there.
Well, I'd have put these two on the New Zealand tour if I'd been the coach, Marc Lièvremont, but Marty and Mermoz play so well together. But Marty is not going. Mermoz is the younger of the two centres. But Marty's still only 26. Now, Clermont, Anthony Floch to Brock James. Well, the men in all those colours of sang et or are in heaven at the moment. How long will that excitement and joy be lived? Will it be short-lived? This was super play, but Rougerie, something to answer for there, hasn't he?
Yeah, great work though. I think the Porical there, he stirred them in, and here the rest of the squad, of the Perpignan squad. But here we go, we're going to see if Clermont, all that work they put in the psychological side of the game, going to pay off, because it's a tough time at the moment for them.
I was hoping we'd get a shot of Dan Carter there, because he doesn't go until after this game back to New Zealand. And I'm pleased to report that he has been in actual training now. He hasn't been running for, well, since that rotten luck on the 31st of January. But he's now back jogging around, and has been a great asset to the club despite not being on the field of play. And how he has enjoyed it. Here is little Candelon. They're really dancing now. Perpignan, this guy just 5'6" and a bit, can dance and weave and duck and dive, and crisis time I sense for Clermont here. Can they get back in? Because Perpignan are in another world at the moment. Marty again, and the offload, Porical on his shoulder. They really have the bit between their teeth, and they come again, this time Freshwater, not the best pass. And it bounces off Olivier Olibo, and referee looks for advantage. But no, he's given an offside against Clermont. I thought it was a knock-on. It's a full penalty. 3 points on offer here.
Yeah, that was well played again. As I said earlier in that game, the danger comes from that midfield for Perpignan. And you see the two-man man, Marty and Mermoz, creating that danger. Great ball by Candelon there.
He's had a wonderful season, Candelon. Well, 4 years ago France had him in their side, but 9 tries this season, a try in the semi-final. And there's the man with the captaincy on his shoulders, the worrying times for Aurélien Rougerie. But they're the people currently in ecstasy. 3 points on offer to increase it to a 6-point lead, 13 points to 10. And there the massed ranks of the Clermont faithful behind that goal post will be trying to blow the ball backwards or out of line. But what a cool 23-year-old this man has proved to be. Scored a great try in the semi against Paris. Kicked 2 conversions, 2 penalties. New name to watch out for, Jérôme Porical. 10 minutes into the second half. No sweat. 16 points to 10. It's getting better and better for the red and gold.
6 points now from a 4-point deficit at half-time. Within 5 minutes, now 6 points ahead, Perpignan.
Far from done though, and we've seen both these teams actually excel in the last 20 minutes of many a close tie in the season in which Perpignan topped the league. Clermont ended up third. Perpignan had a wonderful run, 20 wins out of 26. Clermont 9 defeats. They've got other ideas of turning this one round. Ledesma setting it up, Nalanga in there to help as he so often does into the midfield players. Then Ledesma drives on, Mignoni waits, appeals, but in vain because it's not released by Clermont. And David Zirakashvili is in the wars as well, the big prop who scored a try in last year's cup final.
And the man who came in replacement for Klebs already. No, he's all right. He's running.
He's running. Half an hour less than that remain for Clermont. Well, I can't bear the thought for them of 3 cup finals in a row, runners-up each time. But it's not there yet. 9 times runners-up, never winning since their first final in 1936. All those great players you think of, particularly I suppose someone like Jean-Pierre Romer, Grand Slam fly half, always a Montferrand man, never a winner at the club level. Here they come, Perpignan again, Parical really have that confidence now. In goes Candelon, in goes Marty. Lâché rouge, let it go red, they didn't. Clermont needs something now to lift the spirits, if nothing more. There's Thibaut Privat, there's the 28-year-old Rougerie, and Vermeulen has come on as replacement for Clermont. Candelon in defence, trying to turn it into attack. Clermont, converted try of course, not a difficult target. Couple of penalties to get on terms as Babi takes it into contact. This is Floch, Brock James, now Julien Pierre.
I already know where they're going there, Clermont at the minute.
Good offload, Zirakashvili, the Georgian prop, Mignoni, Ledesma, but look at the defensive work here by Perpignan. None shall pass this red line is their motto. Already, Elvis Vermeulen, the replacement. Clermont retaining it. Brock James, lovely ball to Benoit Babi coming in from the blind side onto Rougerie. Bit of pace, bit of a split up the Perpignan middle. Mignoni this time, lots of yellow shirts out wide. The hands are good. Zirakashvili scored last year in the final. 7 metres short this time. Mignoni. This is a great riposte from Clermont. Brock James goes. Still there, beat the first man, hits the second. And down goes, I think, Marius Tinku. And there's a penalty, there's 3 points surely here. In front of the post, offside against Perpignan. That was brilliant build-up by Clermont.
Yeah, great ball inside there. A great ball inside for the winger coming blind. That was a good call from Brook James. Sucking in the defense, opening that gap for Babi. Rougerie has followed, making that ball still available.
And this is good straightening up, wasn't it, by the prop? Quite young, he looks older than he is. He's just 25 and nearly 18 stone. And he took a deal of stopping. Brave tackle from Tinku. Here 3 points to get within 3 points of the Perpignan total. 16-10 at this point. Brock James again. So there are his 8 points that take him over 1,000 points for Clermont-Auvergne. Couldn't have happened for him at a better time. It's 16-13. Brock James with yet another nick on the scoreboard as he passes 1,000 points and keeps Clermont Auvergne right up in the hunt.
Yeah, that keep all that game. Momentum, now 3 points.
And 25 minutes remain. Really is going to be a battle to the last. As close as this. Lead changing hands 3 times now. The close quarter stuff with
He's
Babi going
running,
in.
yeah, running in.
No man. It was a well floated pass, wasn't it? But it's accidentally offside by a mile or 3. Up goes Vermeulen.
They've got to keep those ball. Every ball going to count now in the last 24 minutes of the game.
Look, Jackie has just come on there. Well, there's a youngster who, of course, was the pride of France when he captained France to the under-21 World Cup Championship in Clermont-Ferrand only a couple of seasons ago. 3, I suppose. 3 seasons ago it was. He's now 24. Loic Jacquet. And more changes too as big South African, big bulldozer Gerry Brits comes on the back row for Le Corvec. And well, an impact player he is, that's for sure. 16'3". This experienced flanker used to play for the Stormers in South Africa. He's done well here at Perpignan. Durand, cool heads now, that's what's needed. Gavin Hume's kick is taken with the mark. Anthony Flosh on the break. Good support here. Clermont springing the heels again. Mignoni, oh, nearly worked up, trying to pop it up to Flosh, but there's a man interfering with offside here. Perez, there's Flosh, live wire. Big recovery this season after a lengthy injury. Quick thinking too.
Yeah, play well there. Good offload. But I think there is going to be a reprimand for Le Corvec. There's no so for Perez.
He just hold the player back, I think. That's how I saw it in the corner of my eye. Got to knock his pains.
Last time, next time, he put his hand to stop that ball to come out.
Well, what would you do here? There's a penalty chance. Don't really think they've got the distance kicker, do you? From it's going to be some meters inside their own half. There's Benoit Babi. As I said earlier, many people would not remember the name as the last guy to play fly half for France. But they're going to have a go from this distance with 23 minutes to go. So here's the chance to draw level. And it's the winger, Benoit Babi, who has the responsibility of this one. He kicked 2 penalties in the semi-final, so don't be too surprised. He's the long distance specialist. And what a moment for the 25-year-old. This to draw level. Two steps. It's nowhere near. It's nowhere near.
Yeah, not enough strength. Last week when he kept those balls, he had a bit of a wind behind him. Not this time.
It stays at the 3-point margin.
And the referee for another replacement. Kisipulu coming in the front row. And also that's a
good
young hooker, Guillaume Girardeau.
Girardeau is a good youngster. Takes over from Marius Tinku then, this 22-year-old hooker. Keep your eye on that name, Guillaume Girardeau. He's on the New Zealand tour with France and has already got a cap. One cap only. Julien Pierre trying to get possession again for Clermont. They still trail, but only by 3 points. Rougerie looking those back out on his favoured position on the wing there. Mignoni, his final game for Clermont. And there may be a few others following, like perhaps Ledesma and Skelzo, as they reach the middle 30s. Porical secure. Mark called.
Trying to slow down a bit the pace there, Montferrand. This seems to be out of it.
Brock James. Try conversion, 2 penalties against Toulouse in the semi-final. Can he swing it round again off his boot or out of his hands? Brock James.
Not much angle there for Brock James. The line out will be inside the Perpignan, inside the Clermont's territory.
There's the young hooker, Guillaume Girardeau. Kisipulu of Tonga, the prop to come on, by the way. Durant, pressure on him. Gavin Hume gets it away well though. Now it's that midfield, big hit. Was that high from Brock James? It's created a bit of a reaction and a half.
Shoulder charge, I think. Yeah. There's no harm on it. It doesn't rub the arm around, go with the shoulder. Could be vital there, because if the referee decides it's dangerous, there might be a yellow card.
Could indeed be. Here he goes, Candelon. Here. Yeah, you see, he went in. It's sometimes a problem. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but Candelon is only 5'6".
I agree with you.
When he goes down a little, when he changes direction. Let's listen in, sorry. Monsieur Bessot talks to Monsieur Matteux.
On va partir sur le caractère involontaire, il est dangereux, involontaire, donc il y a pénalité.
It's Brock James, of course. It's a penalty.
Yeah, I think
that could have spoiled the game. I mean, for Brock James to go. And it's all very well. The Perpignan guy's up in arms, of course. Candelon is unfortunate, but as a scrum half myself, I know how that happens. You're inches lower, and the guy's arm comes out. Look, it's a reaction here.
No,
now,
you're right.
And it slipped off his upper arm anyway. I think it's a good call by the referee.
Yeah, I think he did it. I think he called it involuntary but dangerous.
He's dipping down himself here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's changed the change of angle. I've actually took James Brooke on the wrong side, and he's trying to compensate by trying to drop a bit the shoulder.
So the end result is a penalty of significance here, because Jérôme Porical is within his favoured range. It's not far off the middle of the pitch either. It's 16-13. This for a 6-point lead again. Oh, it's wonderfully struck. He can't do any wrong at the moment. 19-13.
What a great kick there by the young Porical.
He has nerves of steel. I remember the day he took over from Dan Carter when he was injured, and he came on and he kicked 3 of those wonderful long distance, narrow angle conversions in that game after Dan Carter was unfortunately injured.
Let's say through generation he's got some good insight.
You're absolutely right.
Of the position.
He's got the right genes, hasn't he?
Yeah. His father and grandfather full back at Lusap as well.
Fantastic. Now then, 18 minutes still to play. Plenty of time. Who can keep the cool? Who will be the hero or the villain? Or who will find the brilliance? Well, that's desperation from Julien Bonner. And an elbow.
And that's
this time by Vermeulen. That's inside the Clermont half. And I tell you what, You'd fear for Clermont if this goes over, because in the atmosphere like this, in a tight game like this, a 9-point lead is of huge significance. As Nicolas Mas says, we'll have a shot at the goal.
Yeah, there is a block. There is no doubt there. That's not actually Vermeulen. I think that's more like Alex Odeberg standing in front of the players going to the ball and blocking any defense.
Yeah.
You can do it, but not that obvious, obviously. That's what happened. Look,
there he is,
7
just
on your left.
Standing there, Odeberg just stands there, doesn't he? Knows exactly what he's doing. Quite right, well spotted, Flo. So here it is, what could be the one that might divide them at the end. This for a 9-point lead. No one's been 9 points clear in this game until perhaps now. Well, what a kick. What a kick. Fantastic kick. Now, the gauntlet thrown down to Clermont. Is it to be 3 in a row as runners-up? Or are Perpignan still vulnerable to the Clermont counter? They don't think so. It's 22 points to 13. And is it about to be a celebration for Jacques Brunel?
Yeah, and that must hurt in the mind there for Montferrand at the moment, for Clermont.
So Porical has taken Perpignan clear. Those last 2 penalty goals. And of course that confidence now will be surging through the veins along with the adrenaline. But Clermont never beaten. Anthony Floch, good work, recovers his own little kick ahead. Into contact goes Cabello, the replacement hooker, first time. Now it's Brock James. Lovely break, almost. But lost it in the tackle, ball went forward. Well, he scored half a dozen tries this season, wanted to go for glory again then, and just didn't quite happen for him. No advantage, Perpignan.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. They didn't hear the whistle there, the Clermont-Montois. And we had another replacement. Olivier Olivo has been replaced in the second row by Vidaseca.
I wonder if so many of these players, 11 from last year's final, will be thinking, oh no, not again. They lost to Toulouse in the final, 20 points to 26, having beaten Perpignan in the semi-final. Could it be 3 in a row? Wasn't it going to be third time in a row lucky? Perez has other ideas. Perpignan too. Bit of injury attention. Not missing anything at the moment. 9 points ahead, Perpignan. Well, they did win the league of 26 rounds, clearly. No one could deny they won't have deserved it. And no one will, of course, forget that they haven't had the title for 54 years.
Yeah, and that's going to be quite experience if they manage to bring it back to Catalonia.
I think I might be tempted to fly down with them tomorrow.
And it's a free kick.
If they win. It's a free kick though here. And Perpignan almost guilty of hanging on too long. Off goes Julien Bonner. That's a high tackle attempt by Perez. Referee's already seen it and has blown for it. So it could be 3 points back here at least. Oh, almost an interception, but it's well taken. Floch comes up to Nalanga. He can't hold it. They'll come back. They'll come back for the penalty.
Yeah, not 10 meters on that.
Good refereeing.
Not 10 meters on that free kick, the defense. But he let it play.
A sharp pass there, you know, from Floch to Nalanga could have had a different result. Here he is, look. If this had been safe to Nalanga, I think they'd have had a hell of a job to stop him. Here's the penalty then. 14 minutes to go, just under. 9 points the margin. Clermont, desperation will be entering their minds now, but coolness is what they need. They need at least 3 points quickly to put fear in Perpignan hearts.
Yeah, and there was Mignoni at the back of that ruck who was a bit pushed over by the defense. He didn't put it away. His counterpart Nicolas Durand came in straight, unfortunately dropped the ball or knocked the ball off. And there is now a problem in that scrum. And this one is important, 10 meters away from Perpignan's line.
Villaseca in on the Perpignan side, coming for Olibo, but it's Clermont who have this one well. Up they go with Vermeulen, yes. Mignoni, Malanga coming in field. Then the big drive, that's the goal line behind Durand there of Perpignan. Can they control? Not so. They haven't stayed on their feet, says referee Mathieu. The 41-year-old from Armagnac won't be the most popular man in the Central Massif at the moment, because there was a real build-up chance for Clermont Auvergne.
Yeah, and then Perpignan's defense holding well. And I think Nicolas Durand was asking for a knock-on first, but the referee I gave them a penalty. And I'll tell you what, the Perpignan kicker doesn't take any chances, kick as hard as he can ahead of them.
This was the chance gone. Nightmare Van Cotter there, he sees this whole chance slipping away. The former triumphant coach with Canterbury Crusaders, played in France, fluent in French. Can he have to suffer 3 defeats in 3 finals in a row? It's looking that way.
And they keep that ball in the heart of the maul, making the odds, and that's...
Yeah, they'll be doing nothing fancy now, in a sense. Clock's on their side, coming towards the last 10 minutes. Durand into the box. Well, Candelon took the man in the air. Penalty quickly taken. Mignoni. Sharp thinking. Was that man offside? Not so. Referee said it's gone beyond the 10. Or not. Almost scenes of chaos at moments of hysteria. 13. David Marty involved. Tackle after. He's hurt his ankle actually.
Yeah, he's calling that, I think, here, there's a penalty, rightly so maybe, taking man and ball together. Mignoni playing that ball quick, and there was Marty tackling.
Not sure.
The referee saying that Marty has dropped that ball forward before he bring it back behind. Oh, that's true, Marmos.
Yeah, Marmos? Yeah. He's going to be injured, he's off to New Zealand on Monday. Well, it's beginning to sing. This stadium, it really has been just a cauldron of noise. Fantastic setting, fantastic evening, and the rain held off.
And it's turn around, ball to Perpignan this time on the introduction.
Well, don't let anyone doubt the passion and the excitement of the top 14, which has been spectacular this season. We've seen the regulars, if you like, of the 21st century: Biarritz, Stade Toulousain, Stade Francais Paris, for once not hogging the headlines. It's two sides who have long awaited a moment of triumph, and the holding of the bouclier de Brennus that goes to the winner. Could be a drop goal chance, long distance one here, it's off target from Gavin Hume, who's set the ball rolling for Perpignan in that first half with a well struck snapped 3 points. 9 minutes. Well, you know that half the crowd are going to be heartbroken, the others deliriously happy. Malanga trying to fly hack it past the attack. Nicolas Durand. Penalty here, going Clermont's way. Slow to release Perpignan.
Holding on to the ball. The ball carrier went a bit on his own there. Even he's got a quick support, a very close support. Didn't make too much effort to stay on his feet. And the result of that, he had two Montferrand players coming right on the top of him, cutting him off from his support.
Well, as we come to the end of this season, just a moment for me to pass on messages to a couple of our avid viewers who've been giving us lots of emails and things along the way. To Ludo in the passionate house of the Cafe in Oaks, and to the likes of Tony MacArthur and Richard Brooks down in deepest bar at the moment, and others around the world, Cyril and Joyce in Johannesburg, and lots more. But thank you all for your kind support, and let's hope there's good top 14 rugby to come next season. That will, I hope, get ever more popular in the mind of rugby aficionados. It's been a joy for us to be doing it throughout the season. Let's hope it's not the last. Just under 7 minutes to go. Referee looking to blow, but it's a passionate effort here from Clermont. They really are building it up, and Perpignan for once on the back foot in a half which they've had the better share of territory and possession. They've got it now though. Turnover ball for the Toulouse ball, Nicolas Durand. Gavin Hume's done a good job at fly half, I sense here, Flo. Yeah,
he's done nothing flash, nothing fancy, but hold the defense line very well, and I've been instrumental in bringing all his partner in the game.
That Perez with the big hit, it was, wasn't it, on Benoit Babi, I think. Really took him hard, but they're coming again. They know they've got to throw every last effort in here. Have Clermont Auvergne, the Clermontois, who have on the touchline there, you could see Jacques Brunel almost hysterical, almost beside himself. Who would be a coach at the end of a day like this when the thing is still in the balance? I say that because a full 6 minutes remain.
The clock is stopped again. Clermont's giving it everything at the moment.
Well, as you'd expect. It's extraordinary really, because Clermont started this season out so disappointingly. They lost games 1, 3, 5, 8, 10. 5 out of the first 10 games they lost before coming back and ending up third in the league. Here's Durand down injured, perhaps cramped for some now. At home they beat Perpignan 29-9. They lost away to Perpignan 16 points to 20. Everyone, I sense, thought this time for Clermont. But it doesn't look like that now. Those extra 3 points just mean that it could be a bridge too far. More troubles too. And this time, Marty. But the celebrations pretty much underway already for the Catalans. Well, there'll be few who will have witnessed the last time they won in 1955. Before that, 1948. Just those two occasions post-war. On the day, of course, where we've all been commemorating, and especially here in France, the D-Day landings. Final flourish of replacements coming on.
Yeah, Melee coming on.
Good scrum half he is.
Played fly half as well this season. Bit of a revelation as well this season for USAP. The young David Melee. Oh, David Melee.
Appropriately named, doesn't he? Yeah, absolutely. Demi de Melee. David Melee. Scrum half in French, of course. So there's Perez. It's a cruel time this for Clermont. Desperation, the ball they need. They've got the scrummage shove and they've got the penalty. It's not yet dead. There's 5 minutes. They've got to keep cool here. This Vermeulen just saying to his forwards, keep it calm. Brock James now, as I said, 3 points, and then it's Perpignan who will be desperate to keep out Clermont, and he knows it only too well. Jacques Brunel, the USAP coach.
No, that's the one you're not to lose.
It's all on this. This is the one last gasp chance. A man who's been absolutely outstanding as a goal kicker, the best I've seen alongside Colin Patterson. This one has hooked too much. I should have said little. It's Perpignan knowing now. With that kick missed, I think Clermont's hopes of anything else than defeat are extinguished. And yes, says Guillaume Villaseca. Just a thought, Flo. One of the great things is actually that we did have this final with these two clubs, because, you know, it had always been Biarritz, Toulouse, Paris, and now these two so long deserving.
Offering some.
However, it might not yet be done. Mermoz setting it up, away by Melee, into the hands of Girardo, the mobile hooker. Here's the 23-year-old scrum half. Drop goal attempt, brave charge down. Now a loose ball, of course. I mean, if they could get a converted try with 3 minutes to go, then a last-minute penalty. Stranger things have happened. Brock James, Rougerie, reached out by Damien Chouli. That needs to stay in play. It doesn't. And every Perpignan supporter cheering to the echo.
And the lineman's calling the referee.
Does he think it might be this dangerous here? The arm of Rougerie. That could be the only thing, I think.
Yeah, no, maybe some. I think the tackle on Benoit Babi maybe a bit too high. Could be a penalty where the ball landed. Yeah, I think he's calling for the high tackle. Thought that'd be a penalty where the ball was kicked. Let's see that Rougerie there. Nearly. No, that's not where the referee coming, because
that was the Chouli one, wasn't it, on Rougerie? Now it's moved upfield to there. Well, what do you do with 3 minutes to go? You've obviously go for the try and conversion and then pray. Well, I told you about wildly enthusiastic support. Can't imagine what the scenes will be like down near that Spanish border in that beautiful city on the Mediterranean coast called Perpignan.
Yeah, and I think captain's coming off as well.
And I think it's going to be a farewell moment for Sebastian Bozzi, the Argentinian who, yes it is, it's a lovely gesture from the captain himself, Nicolas Mas, to bring on this man, to number 23, Sebastian Bozzi, 38 on the 1st of June. But the sad faces of the Auvergnat, the Clermont supporters, know it's as good as done with 2.5 minutes to go. Well, almost. Desperately trying to break through here, and in the desperation, the ball
turnover
turned over in the tackle. And back they go. The heartbreak. The legs feel heavy. The mind is in a whirl.
The ball went straight to touch, so the referee will come back to where the ball was kicked.
So all the replacements, I think, virtually now. And I see Serema Baye is there. The hard Fijian centre, World Cup centre. But it's not to be. Perpignan beating Paris in the semi, 25-21. Lead here in the final, 22-13. Brock James, once more, his tracks are covered.
And Perez again making that tackle.
And Emanuele trying to set it back. It's all desperate stuff here. This is Anthony Floch. Help Clermont on their way to the final.
And there is a knock-on. That was a knock-on. The referee led the advantage flight, but the ball goes to Clermont.
It's not to be for Vern Cotter. What a brilliant effort from him and his team. 3 finals in a row. Would anyone believe you could lose all 3? 54 seconds. Vermeulen. One last charge. In goes Alexandre Audebert. Mignone's last play, perhaps in his career with Clermont. Brock James still trying. Perez still tackling. Half a minute, and then the hooter will sound. Everyone up there. Floch, that's like a spear tackle to me.
No, in the ball in contact there, and that's a scrum, and they know it. Lusap, they are champion. They're scrum. If they control it, they kick to touch, and that's it.
Could have been a penalty the other way in my book, but didn't seem to control it. But now the Perpignan players look to the crowd and wave to them, and there's a copy of the Bouclier de Brennus. It's all going to be a triumphant festival weekend in Perpignan, with Biscotte and Cracotte, the symbols of the club, the mascots. It's going to be chaos at Stade Aimé Giral. And for Paul Gauze, the big man president, it will be, well, a season and a night and a weekend and a year to remember. And there is the final whistle. Perpignan are the top 14 champions of 2009. 22 points to 13. Their first win since 1955 in their first final for 5 years. But for Clermont and Vern Cotter there, what heartbreak. They have never still won the French Championship. 3 finals in a row these last 3 years, 9 times runners-up until now. This is the 10th, and they haven't done it again. But let's salute Perpignan, worthy champions. What a shame this team in blue and jaune had to lose.
Yeah, fidel to what they've done all season, Perpignan. They knew their strengths. They were smart tonight against a Montferrand team who stayed in their rugby, which doesn't seem to get them the result. And they won with that midfield, which was fantastic. And they deserve all they've done.
Florent Rossignol, it's been great being with you this season. I hope we're together soon. And to our team, bringing you the top 14, Andy Smith, Jamie Salmon, myself, Nigel Stammersmith, and my good partner here, Florent Rossignol. Good night, and thank you for being with us. We hope we see you again soon. Well, still hard to take in for Clermont Auvergne. Runners up here at the Stade de France to Perpignan. And look what it means to the men in the jerseys of sang et or, of blood and gold. And blood they've given, effort they've given, all the 46 players who took the field tonight. And look at the celebrations for the old legs like Sébastien Bozzi, and for the younger players, Gavin Hume and Nicolas Durand. And the celebrations will go on and never cease. And for Bozzi there, how appropriate, an Argentinian flag as he salutes the crowd on his farewell. Sébastien Bozzi. That's the farewell moment for the 38-year-old Argentinian who has been, well, rock solid as part of Perpignan. The tears of joy, the tears of anguish. In a game in which Porrical, 4 penalties, a conversion, a Hume drop goal, a try apiece, brilliant from Marty, brilliant from Nalanga early on, and Brock James, 2 penalties, a conversion. But, well, I think we both would agree, Flo, that it is a season where we were happy for either of them to win, and we'd love them to have both been able to do so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, those teams have marked the championship this year. They've played really well. They control everything. Perpignan finished it on at the top of the regular season. And, well, also they won that championship. I saw they play a smarter rugby tonight. Equal at themselves, you know.
they've played the rugby tonight. They didn't try to stay away from taking the risks, and that paid off for them. On the other hand, a word for Montferrand, you know, third years in a row, going at that stage of the competition, not winning. Very, very hard on all those guys who work, who work every day for that goal. But I think Montferrand, Clermont has still things to learn about those games. They can't just base it on a one-man show or just their collective should bring everything more. And they've played some great rugby this season. And I think, as we mentioned it at the start of the season, the injury of Joubert, the centre, has been a big problem for them for the last few weeks. Even Rougerie playing well at that position, there's a bit of unbalance there.
And somehow Jacques Brunel got over the problems over the fly half position, which he thought he got sewn up at the start. So conversely for Perpignan, I think Gavin Hume had a terrific final, given that he was the one of 7 fly halves that Jacques Brunel has tried out this season, having hoped, of course, all along that Carter would be his number 1. That wasn't to be. But I guess what we can say from this game and so many that we've seen this season is what a wonderful championship we have ahead of us. We've seen Toulouse deposed, we've seen Paris deposed, we've seen Biarritz recovering, but we've seen 2 teams here who are obviously going to be up fighting at the top of the championship again. And as you look at the sad faces of the players in the blue and yellow of Clermont, you think ahead of sides like Brive and particularly I think Toulon, who have now got Philippe Saint-André ruling the roost there, with players like Wilkinson, Flutie and others coming in. I think you're going to talk about, well, at least 8 contenders. And there is the man himself, Dan Carter, with the Perpignan tie. Couldn't play, but he did his part. Here, some of the some of the highlights from the start. Wonderful start by Clermont with Nalanga scoring.
Yeah, great work there with side, creating an unbalanced defense there, and Brooke James weighing that ball just over the defense for the hands. And there, the moment where Porical stay strong and offload that ball to Marty coming around.
The moment, I think, of the match. It was a wonderful comeback by Perpignan, who'd been a bit under the cosh. Trailing they were by 7 points at one time. It's a super try and classic play from the experienced Frenchman.
Yeah, they managed to turn that game around within 5-7 minutes. They scored 9 points. They were 4 points down and then were 6 points ahead. They scored 10 points within 7 minutes, and I think that was the turnaround of the game. Psychologically, Montferrand tried hard, but couldn't actually overcome that energy which the Catalans offered.
So there we have it, the end of a dramatic season in which Toulouse followed on behind Perpignan. And it's good in a way that if they won the 26 rounds of the league, that they end up as champions. Playoffs can sometimes give a false outcome, not this time. Toulouse second, Clermont-Auvergne were third, Paris fourth, Biarritz fifth. They clawed their way back up after low days. Bayonne, new kids on the block, just behind Brive. Montauban, Toulon, Montpellier, Bourgoin, Castres, and the 2 demoted, relegated were Dax and at the bottom Mont-de-Marsan. But then upcoming into the top 14, exciting talents of Racing Metro. Racing, who were with Paris Stade Francais, the very first finalists in the top 14. So Racing and Albi will be joining. And so it's an end of the domestic season for me, but I'll be off to Japan tomorrow for the IRB Under-21 World Championship. Philip Berger there, and well, a happy squad and sobering moments for this team of whom so many, 11 in all, have played in a losing final before. Coach Vern Cotter, the coach, 3 times in a row. Disappointment for the president, René Foutès. And consolation and respect amongst the 2 teams. And for Aurélien Rougerie, a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, another lost final for Rugby.
Well, I could see there Paul goes, unmistakable in his size, but a proud Perpignanais. But here's Mario Ledesma leading up a team who have no smiles, unsurprisingly. To do it once as runners-up, okay, twice, scarce to believe, but 3 times in a row. That is tough. Well, inevitably, post-match, the long drawn-out ceremonies and the long walk up the steps for the consolation moment of handshakes for this club, which started out as Association Sportive Montferrand, playing rugby and soccer and cross-country back in 1911. Clermont Auvergne in its new guise. And there, the president of the French Federation, Pierre Gomez, accompanied by Pierre-Yves Rivol. And yeah, well, they played their part not just tonight, but in this season. Played some wonderful rugby, scoring 80 tries, and exciting occasions they've provided in plenty. So 23 players who really have little that they would want to say at this point. But these guys, they'll talk to everybody. He's had a good season, hasn't he, Jean-Pierre Perez? Sort of following in the Chabal footsteps, is he, with the hairstyle?
Yeah, he had a good game tonight, I thought. Ever present there to stop the defense.
Bernard Laporte, I can see along there, now part of the political scene, which these days isn't always a compliment. Particularly the other side of the channel, anyway.
In charge of sport.
In charge of sport and junior things. Junior activities and sport. Aurélien Rougerie battled so hard to come back after his hernia operation early in the season, out for well over 2 months. And the injuries. Martin Scozo was the man who got knocked early on, but fine player. Rougerie took the gamble to play in the centre, but it really wasn't where it was lost. It was more to do with what happened up front, I guess.
And the other champion.
Well, a moment to savour. A moment as the great rugby newspaper Midi Olympique had on its front cover this morning, a moment of history, a moment of eternity that these guys will always treasure and will be remembered for. And that was what was beckoning to both teams. 1955, you can have all these great names like Ambonard, Desclos, the Livremonts, several of them played for Perpignan, Joe Mazzo, Bernard Goutte, Amy Giral himself, who was in a winning side. But all those big names, how many of them would have given their eye teeth to be walking up these steps now behind Nicolas Mas. And Freshwater's done his part. Former captain, of course, Perry Freshwater, came here 3 seasons, became an institution, loved him down in Perpignan, did his bit. Nicolas Durand, Marius Tinku and Kisipoulou. Oh, smiles now, Memoirs and Nati, and then the host of officials. Bernard Laporte there, and again Pierre Gomez, president of the Fédération Française de Rugby, and Pierre-Yves Rivol.
One side with the Perpignans.
There's Paul goes, isn't it, just leaning over. He's kissing them all. The big man in the middle there, leaning over.
Yeah, John Dignac.
The last man to go up will get that old piece of wood that has been there since 108 years ago. It must be like 1901 it was introduced. The bouclier de Brenus is waiting there, look, that piece of wood, and the plate is part of it. And that's what he's going to get.
Maybe quickly, if you remember, Jean-Pierre Romeu.
Well,
one of the great from French rugby.
Absolutely, from Clermont, never enjoyed a title like this. A little salutation. That's all these years they've waited. 54 years. It's been a long time coming down to near the Spanish border. Glorious coastline around Perpignan, lovely wine fields and beaches and coves and great rugby.
The old squad there to celebrate around.
Well, the 28-year-old will be, I think he could fly himself to New Zealand on Monday when he goes with his teammates Damien Chouli and Maxime Mermoz.
And Guillaume Guirado as well, joining them, the young hooker who came on at the end.
Oh yes, indeed. Well, he's been a battler, not the biggest man in the front row union, but one of the strongest. 28-year-old and a very loyal Perpignanais player, Nicolas Mas. Just that moment to cap it all awaits Nicolas Mas and Perpignan. Well, terrific season we've had. Seems a long way back last August when we set out on the 26 rounds before the recent playoffs for the semi-finals. A lot of uncertainties at the top and the bottom. And that's the glory of promotion and relegation. I don't think you can have a league without that. USAP. Well, I'm glad the Harlequins won something this season, even if it wasn't the London ones. It's getting a bit chaotic there. The presentation is long awaited. And where is Nicolas Mas? He's fighting his way through. Just there to the right. Somewhere in there, the Minister of Sport, I think, has come to the fore to make the actual presentation.
Yeah, Yveline Bachot, which is the Minister in charge of sport, and obviously Bernard Laporte, the Junior Minister in charge of sport.
Somewhere is the bouclier de Brenus, which is finding its way into the hands of a Perpignan prop forward who I can't see. It's a big lift, it's a big shield, but it's a trophy that's worth its weight in diamonds to these people. Perpignan, champions of France, 2009, their 7th title, but most importantly, their first since 1955. They first won it in 1914. What a night for them. Well deserved, a wonderful season. So, as we bid you good night from the Stade de France, good night for the season.
Good night for the season.
From Florent Rossigno. From myself, Nigel Stammersmith. Hope you've enjoyed being with us. We've had a lot of fun, and thank you for watching it all with us. The end of the Top 14 2009. It's Perpignan's night.
Au revoir.